Before we can get started training our dogs, we first need to talk about how dogs learn and how we can effectively teach them in humane ways. In this training series, we will be using positive reinforcement training methods based on classical conditioning and operant conditioning. Classical conditioning is learning that occurs by associating a stimulus with a response. For example, the sound of a clicker means that a treat is coming. Operant conditioning is when we learn to perform a behavior in order to get a reward or to avoid a punishment. Operant conditioning is organized into 4 quadrants. These quadrants form the basis for behavior modification and training. The 4 quadrants are positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, positive punishment, and negative punishment. For the training course, we are going to focus on positive reinforcement. This means adding something good, such as a treat or praise, immediately after a behavior occurs. This will increase the likelihood that a behavior will be repeated. Positive reinforcement training focuses on rewarding desirable behaviors rather than punishing undesirable behaviors. We want to avoid using physical punishment, fear-based methods, or aversive techniques, as they can harm the dog's trust and cause behavioral issues. These type of learning methods fall under the positive punishment quadrant. Throughout this training course, you will frequently see me using a clicker. Clicker training is used as a way to communicate with your dog. The click serves as a marker signal, indicating to the dog that the behavior they just performed is correct and that a reward is coming. Before we begin using the clicker for training, we want to teach the dog what the clicker means. We call this charging the clicker. Have your dog in front of you and click and give your dog a treat. Do this about 10 to 15 times. Your dog doesn't need to be doing any specific behaviors for this. Right now, we are just teaching them that 1 click always equals 1 treat. This will be important to remember as you progress through training. Even if you accidentally click, you still owe them 1 treat. We don't want to accidentally take away the value of the clicker. The clicker should not be used as a way to get your dog's attention. It should only be used as a way to mark behaviors. There are 3 ways we teach dogs new behaviors, and you will hear me refer to these methods throughout the course. First is luring. This is using a treat to guide the dog into the behavior we want. Next is shaping. This is very similar to luring, except we are slicing up the behavior into smaller pieces and rewarding as we go. And the last is capturing. This is marking and rewarding a behavior that your dog has offered on their own. As our dogs learn, they go through 4 stages of learning. These stages are acquisition, fluency, generalization, and maintenance. Acquisition is the initial stage of learning where the dog is exposed to a new behavior and begins to associate specific cues or commands with the desired response. During this stage, their responses may be inconsistent because they are still actively trying to figure out what is expected of them. Fluency is when they begin to develop proficiency. This means they can respond promptly and consistently to the verbal or hand cue associated with the behavior. Generalization is when the dog is able to perform the behavior in various environments with different distractions. A behavior is generalized when a dog can respond to a cue correctly and the learned behavior is not context specific. Maintenance refers to long-term retention and continued performance of a learned behavior over time. The reward frequency has decreased and the behavior has become reliable in a wide range of situations. This is important to remember as you begin to train your dog in various environments and take them on outings. It is totally normal if they can't perform behaviors in new places as well as they can at home. Now that you know all the training fundamentals, let's get to the fun part, training your dog.